Hey guys, thanks for clicking on my video. Today I'm going to be doing a demo review kind of wear test on a new foundation that I found at the store. And it was really interesting because when I first saw them I was like, those are a lot of light colors, but I looked closer and I thought, actually this is probably my color. So they actually do have a wide range. There was just a couple stores that didn't have the right range, so you have to like kind of pick and choose in which community you live in maybe to find like the perfect color. So anyways, I'm going to be trying on the COVERGIRL VITALIST Healthy Elixir. I've never tried anything from COVERGIRL. I think I tried maybe one concealer or like one face powder that I use for a bronzer, but that's it. I don't have a ton of experience with it, but I was intrigued when I saw this particular color. There were two that I was going between. I think it was 765 or 775 and then 755. And this one's in the color, yeah, that's just the color. Oh, this one's in Soft Honey. So the other one I think was like golden something. And I always usually gravitate towards the goldens. So I grabbed it, it was way too dark. And then I tried this one and it was perfect. This matches very close to NC42. It's a little bit on like, if there was an NC41, this would be it, I think. But it's perfect for NC42 girls. So I have tried the foundation on a couple times, and I like mixed it with other foundations and stuff like that just to figure out how it works best. So I think I have a better idea. Oh, I'm using the Hangover RX primer. I've already moisturized my skin. I have a few breakouts, but nothing crazy. And then I have leftover lipstick. This always happens when I wear a Girl About Town from MAC, like always. So this is what I also needed to tell you guys, because I feel like no one really explains like the way the beauty blender can sometimes not be the best tool, but the brushes, I personally don't like using brushes. So anyways, what I do is I do a pump and like a half, because 2 pumps is too much. And then I spread it around like this, like into like a square type shape, and just put like whatever on my face. And I use the butt of it, and it just distributes the foundation so much better and evenly. So if you were just to scoot, like if you were just to put that one sponge or one pump onto the palette and then dip it, it literally just traps it all in. And because the formula is so thick and like almost like a gel formula, it's gonna stick to it a little bit too much in a way where it like sucks up the foundation. So that's why I like to do it that way. Also, it just kind of lays on the foundation more evenly. As you can see, I still have some left, so that's why it's just better to distribute it this way. It just lays on the skin so much better from a beauty blender. Sometimes a beauty blender would just suck up all of my foundation and like target it into one spot of the beauty blender, and it doesn't look good like when you put it on your face. So that's why I like to spread it, put a little bit on my face, and then use the beauty blender to add it on top of it. So as you can see, it gives you just like a really beautiful full coverage. You can make it full coverage. I think right now it's closer to a medium, but I kind of like the way it looks like that. It's not too heavy. And a lot of times where I can see it where it's like too heavy is like in the center of my face, where I do a lot of like this. I don't know, I just have like a permanent this face. Resting bitch face. But it does have a little bit of that like dewiness. And I don't want to say it's dewy because it's not wet. It's just like a tacky finish, and it looks like skin, which is like a great thing. That's probably why it's called an elixir as opposed to matte foundation and things like that. Like I said, I've worn it a few times, and I did mix this with a face and body foundation because I wanted to kind of break it down a little bit. And I thought it wore okay, but it didn't give me that full coverage because face and body tends to break apart on me fairly easily, and it also doesn't lay perfectly on like this part of my face for some reason. This part of my face, this one's fine, but this one doesn't grip. But with this foundation it does. Because it is like more of a tacky like finish, like it's totally sticky, like you can feel it, and it's, can you see that? It's like sticky. What I did do is I set my entire face with like a Wet n Wild pressed powder, really any powder, but I like to keep it very light coverage because this formula is already full coverage, so I don't want to add extra coverage. So I'm going to dust this all over my face as well. And then I like to do this more in this parts of my cheeks because that's where the bronzer is going to go. And then I'm going to put some on my eyes because that's where I put my concealer. I'm gonna bronze my face, finish a little bit more of this makeup, and then I'll be back. Okay, now that my makeup is pretty much done for the most part, I wanted to kind of show you guys what I use on my face. So I pretty much, you guys saw me dust off my face. I put some bronzer on. The one that I use is my favorite, the Glam Glow from L'Oreal in the color medium. And then for the blush, I used my, actually this is the blush I use all the time. This is the blush palette from Elf, and it's in the light color, and I use this like top one, which is like the peachy one. I never touch these, to be honest, but I love the peach one. And then for my highlight, I'm actually using an eyeshadow from Maybelline. This one is in the color The Glow Down. It's a very, very highlighty and beautiful. I love it. I use that on my eyes as well as my cheeks, my eyes as well as my cheeks, and then I also use the bronzer on my eyes. So yeah, that's pretty much what's on my face. On my lips, I'm wearing the Liquid Suede by NYX, and this was in the color Soft Spoken. It's literally one of my favorite colors. I just love, love, love the way it feels, the way it looks. It just works with every single eye look. So before I talk more about the foundation and how it's sitting and wearing, I wanted to also share my impressions on this guy. This is the Voluminous Lash Paradise. I got the waterproof version because my lashes need that. And this is supposed to be like a very close dupe, or even better than Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. So I don't have that mascara, but I thought I would just play with it and see how this wears. I do love a good full voluminous lengthening mascara, so I'm gonna kind of play and see how this wears. I've worn this once before, but I honestly wore it underneath lashes, so I didn't even get to like look at it. I don't really think I have one that's this thick. I always get mascara on my eyelids. Wow, that's one coat. It's pretty. It's really pretty. It doesn't necessarily lengthen my lashes the way like my Wet n Wild one does. That one definitely adds length to my lashes, but this one, it adds like volume, which I like. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the bottoms. The bottoms look really thick too. I like this mascara. Alright, I'm going to do a second coat of mascara on the top lashes just to see if I can get a little bit thicker. Oh, now they look a little bit spidery. So what's interesting about this mascara that I noticed right away off the bat, it doesn't lengthen my lashes, but what it does, it kind of like makes them like look all one length, and it almost looks like a strange pair of lashes that are just like evenly cut. Yeah, the Wet n Wild one that I buy for like $5 does so much better than this. And this one's closer to $10. Alright, so that's the mascara on. I'm gonna wait to see if my lashes fall or if there's any flakage going on or any kind of like transferring of any sort to see if I do like this or not. Alright, let's talk about my foundation. So my foundation right now, the way it's sitting, it looks beautiful. So it looks full coverage. It doesn't, oh no, I have strawberry on my teeth. Damn it. So my foundation, it's sitting beautiful on my face. It doesn't really skip with my bronzer, but what I do find is it doesn't target certain areas, so I do have to kind of take my sponge and clean out some more of that to get like a sharper edge. But that's pretty much it, but it's not the biggest like issue that I have, but what it does do is it makes it look like my skin is naturally flawless because it does have that skin-like finish and that like tackiness, and that's what's kind of like emulating skin, because skin does have like almost like a sheen, a slight shine to the surface of it, and when a foundation has a luminous, dewy, tacky finish, it's mimicking skin. So I kind of love that. Let's see how it wears throughout the day. I do have a huge blemish here, which is like whatever. I'm not really mad about it, but it is distracting a little bit. So I'm gonna wear it for a few hours. I actually have a date to get to with one of my girlfriends, and then I'll be back and see how it wears. Alright guys, I'm back for a check-in. I put on my makeup at around 11, like 10:30, and right now it's about 3 o'clock, so it's been several hours. Usually I check in at around hour 3, but it's been about 5 hours now, so I'm a little late for my check-in, but it's actually perfect, so you can really see how the makeup wears. Number one, it's very similar to the MAC Pro Longwear foundation in their original like pump bottle, not the squeeze tube bottle that's waterproof. So it's very similar to that formula in which it's a little bit tacky. It's kind of like almost a demi matte. It's not dewy per se, but it's also not super matte. It reminds me of that foundation a lot because whenever I wear it for a longer period of time, it gives me that like skin-like finish, but it doesn't make me feel dry, and it actually lasts a long time. So this particular foundation reminds me of that. Looking into the mirror now, really the only areas that I see that's oily is like in the center of my brows and a little bit here. But what I will say about this foundation that I love is that it doesn't break apart. So you may get some oil areas here and there, but it doesn't actually break the foundation apart. Some foundations, especially like I think of like the Loreal Pro Glow, it's beautiful on the skin. I love the way it looks, but you can only wear it a short time because it tends to break apart in the oily areas, and then if you touched it, it'll kind of transfer. With this, you really can't. So if you were to kind of powder down your face, it's not going to move or look gross. It's actually going to make the foundation underneath look extra perfect, really. So for the most part, really nothing has moved, nothing has changed. I actually really like this foundation. It's so similar to the MAC Pro Longwear one because it does last such a long time. It doesn't break apart, but it also isn't a matte finish, so it's not going to soak up your skin and make it feel super dry. Which is what I sometimes don't like about certain like mattifying foundations. They're just too dry for my skin, and I have oily skin, so it's kind of saying a lot about the foundation. I really like this particular one because it does give you a little bit more of that flexibility, and it's probably because of that elixir in there, and it sits on the skin very nicely. I have a pimple here, and it's like, you know, it's kind of showing a little bit more the texture, but the coverage and the color is not pink, so it's covered it really well. For my mascara, to be honest, I'm just kind of indifferent about it. I don't necessarily think, I think it gives me great volume, but I don't think it adds any length. And I have other mascaras that actually do that, and I like them better. So for instance, I would probably pick up the Skinny mascara from Wet n Wild. I know some of you guys have had a hard time finding this, but maybe check online. I think it's worth like the extra shipping and things like that. It's only $5. It's skinny, it's compact, but it does give so much volume and so much length, which is what I personally need because my lashes are pretty thick on their own, but they're so short, so this extra like lengthening will make it better. So for me, I don't necessarily think this is like worth all that. If you have long lashes, it might be perfect for you, but to be honest, it's kind of like, it performs very similar to some of my other mascaras, and I think I like those better anyways, but they're beautiful. I just don't think it did anything extra and special to my lashes where I have to have this in addition to my other mascaras. So this is going back to the store. It was just okay, but again, if you have long lashes and full lashes, this might be perfect for you. For this guy, I'm keeping this guy. I'm super excited to be wearing this in the summer. I think it does a great job with kind of maintaining oils. It's not meant to be mattifying, but it does maintain some of the oils that tend to build up throughout the day without breaking apart the foundation. So I think this is a really great formula. I think this is totally doable for normal skin and oily skin. I couldn't necessarily tell you all the details about drier skin, but I think it might work just as fine. Alright guys, that's it for my demo review wear test for the day. I've worn this foundation a few times, which is why I'm not kind of taking longer, but I will say it's going to still look good 4 hours from now because it's just like a great foundation. It's actually long lasting for me, and it reminds me so much of the MAC Pro Longwear. That's the one foundation that I actually ran out of and I had to do it back to MAC, so meh. I do miss that foundation, so now I'm happy to have a drugstore version. It's super exciting. So if you see these in the drugstores, check it out. I think it's worth the try, and it's definitely worth a purchase if you have oily skin. Alright guys, I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!